Welcome to the Newswire. So glad you're here with us, joining myself and producer Alex. Alex, today we are the first Monday after the 4th of July. It's July 7th. And did you have a good 4th of July holiday?
I did. Pretty chill. Just hit the pool up, ate some crab, some shrimp, and relaxed. How about you?
Now, would you say, now that you live in Florida, that is a traditional summertime, like other parts of the country, it's hot dogs and burgers? You know, is it crab and shrimp? Is that like a Florida?
No, actually, because my wife and her brother, they're originally from Maryland, so they're crab people.
Maryland is a crab place. Yes. Like if you go to the Eastern Shore, Maryland, if you go into the Bay, I mean, Old Bay seasoning, like it's a big deal. So, okay.
Yeah.
So it's not Florida. It was more of, all right.
That's their tradition. Yeah. That's just their tradition. So.
Which I totally understand. Having many friends from Maryland, get it. Awesome. Well, wonderful. We barbecued a little bit.
Nice.
We spent some time on the boat. We flew some American flags, and let's jump into there. Over the weekend, on Friday, specifically Friday night, Jason Kelce of former Philadelphia Eagle lore, and you know that guy's brother, Travis Kelce's brother, he made this post on Instagram. Man, I love the 4th. One of the great days we all can set aside our differences in this country and enjoy the one thing we all share in common, that we are American. Cheers to you, oh beautiful America. And then the fireworks began.
Yeah, he's gotten well over 2,000 comments on this.
7,324 comments as it sits right now. 171,185 likes. This is on Instagram. And dozens of pundits crucifying him how dare you make this tone deaf post.
Can I read some of these responses?
Please.
These are ridiculous.
Please.
These are a couple. Dude, no. This caption is so beyond tone deaf and insulting. People are suffering. People will die because of what's happening. Human rights are being lost. Do better. This is actually horrendous.
Well, let me read one while you're finding the next one. I love you, bro, but your privilege is showing. You are able to set things aside, but not everyone has that privilege. Yeah.
You have an incredibly large platform. Use it to highlight the injustices and human rights violations currently happening in this country. Through Kylie, we know that you're both so committed to teaching your daughters how to treat others kindly and the power of being a strong woman. Show them how they can use their voices to speak up for the underprivileged.
All right, so wait, let me read this again. I'm going to read them again. Man, I love the 4th. One of the great days we all can set aside our differences in this country and enjoy the one thing we all share in common, that we are American. Cheers to you, oh beautiful America. I don't know how partisan neutral, belief neutral, lifestyle neutral that can be. If you live on this soil and for reason and have chosen to, he has spoken to you. Here's another one. There's one more. There's one.
So many crazy ones.
Unfortunately, Jason, this is not real life for many. They signed the worst bill for so many Americans today just to rub it in our faces. I know it's hard to understand, but so many will suffer.
And hold on, I got one more. I really love you, Jason, but no, we actually can't just set aside our differences. The reason why I say this, I actually do love this country and what the country is becoming, is not something I am proud of.
I mean, where do we start, dude? Where? How about this segue? Last week, the latest ratings, TV ratings for the second quarter of this year of 2025 were released.
And MSNBC, yeah.
And if you look at like the news segment, okay. So the popular news segments, obviously the brands, Fox News, you have MSNBC, you have CNN, those are of course, then you have the classics, the CBSs, right? The stalwarts. Yeah. Well, CBS was in the news last week because they had to create a new, it's called a Trump rule, because their reporting was so bad that the judge chose to name it the Trump. I mean, that's what they're calling it, is because they were so biased. What was it? A $35 million, correct me if I'm wrong. It was tens of millions fine for how they were reporting. Okay. Well, here's the news. Just in the last quarter, MSNBC saw their ratings drop by another double-digit mark. This is quarter over, like this quarter this year compared to last year, another double-digit drop.
Yeah.
Across their prime time and their age demographic, 24 to 54. Outside of that age demographic didn't change much. CNN, even worse. So on the heels of this, let me add this one in. I don't watch any of these, to be honest. I don't watch MSNBC. I don't watch CNN. I don't watch Fox News. Fox News had a more than double-digit gain.
Yeah.
In the prime time and in that key demographic. So I come back to this here now I said Travis, Jason Kelce comment. And I'm stopping and saying, who's out of touch?
I mean, it's just by the and he doesn't talk about politics a lot at all.
That wasn't political.
And it wasn't political to begin with. But that's how triggered, people on the extreme left are to just something about, the 4th of July.
I mentioned this to you last week, Alex. I'm so excited to have this conversation. We have a guest upcoming who the title of her book, it talks about the science of social engineering.
Yeah.
And I'm so excited to talk about it for this very case. There are people that are socially engineered to believe an individual like Jason Kelce in his comments was attacking, was prejudiced, was privileged. And it's like, he didn't say anything about, man, look at the beach that I get to have just because I'm a white guy. No.
He was actually
none of that.
He was actually at a charity event raising money for charity during that
just
post.
Watching the fireworks.
Yeah.
Just doing what
hanging out,
tens of probably hundreds of millions of people in this country did over the holiday weekend. And yet he becomes the ire of everyone's soup. It's like, how have we, I don't want to say how have we gotten here. I think the social engineering, the understanding, and here's two things that I was thinking about. I'm going to paraphrase it.
Yeah.
I'm a person of faith. I read the Christian Bible. There's a comment in there when the disciples are with Jesus and they make the comment, one of the individuals who ends up betraying Jesus is like, man, I can't believe we're taking this money. We've taken all of this oil and you took all this oil and you worshiped Jesus. You poured it on his feet. And Jesus goes to him, there will always be poor and needy, but you won't always have me. And as I thought about that this morning, this is where I look at that context. The individual is like, man, you could be saying so much about the poor and needy. He absolutely could. But you know what? I don't have to do it 24 hours, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. At some point, I could be so grateful that I can do that.
Right.
The other 23 hours, 59 minutes, 6 days a week. And I'm going to take one moment to be grateful of where I live. Like, guys, have a concept of timing, and there are always going to be poor. There's always going to be needy. And then it comes this other thought. And this is a lesson that I've learned, a lesson that I try to embrace. I'm not always great at, is seeing what's great in the world will far out motivate, out accomplish, and out achieve than focusing on all of the ills of the world.
And I think this. So I have an interesting story, Tyler. I got a call.
Bring it on.
Yeah. So, and this ties into the social conditioning and psychological conditioning that I believe is not for most, it's not most people. We usually get these comments from people on extreme sides. My wife's uncle called us on, I think it was like Thursday night or Friday.
Okay.
And I would say is extreme right? All the way there. He calls us and he's like, hey, if you want to come to my place and you guys stay with me for the weekend, I heard it's going to get really bad out there. And we're thinking like the weather. And we're like, we're good. Like, yeah, sure. He's like, no, I was like, I heard there was bad storms. He's like, no, not the bad storms. There might be rioting. World War III might break out. I've got guns and weapons and, we'll protect you. And I'm like, he's like dead serious. And I was like, where is this coming from? Like, where is he absorbing information? And it was just kind of like the total
This was like 3-4 days ago.
Yeah. And I'm like, where is he hearing this? Like all this fear, to your point, that's like being drilled into people's minds on both extreme sides where I think most of this lives. I was like blown away. I was like, I think we'll be good. Thank you.
Well, I mean, I think that is what it's disappointing that you have a public figure. Yeah, Jason's a public figure. He has been a professional athlete. He has put himself with his podcast, with his wife's podcast, with his broadcasting, with his advertisements and everything. He has put himself into that arena. Okay, this is part of what you got to deal with. I get all that, but yet, whoa. Like, and I think that's what's interesting is I believe this is showing based upon the ratings numbers, based upon, I had somebody ask me the other day and they're like, but talking to a buddy of mine, do you think the right has gotten farther right? And I said, nah, I don't think so. I think they're just there where they've always been. You have your gun toting, Aryan nationalists, all of them, they are there just as much as there is the extreme racist on the other end. They're both there.
Yeah.
Both there. I think what's happened is I believe the moderate have looked at what's going on in whether it's through this social engineering and or the degradation of societies, whether it's the looting, the lawlessness, the absolute, refusal to protect property rights and all those things as I want no part of that. So I'm going to lean more over here. And I think,
oh, go ahead.
It's just, it's outstanding to me that, again, on the heels of signing the big, beautiful bill over the weekend. And, people ask me, what do you think? I'm like, dude, I have no idea. I have no clue. I have no idea if it's going to be good. I have no idea if it's going to be bad. I just don't know. There's 900 and some pages. I have no idea. And if you can sit
you
here
read it all?
and tell
Tyler,
me,
you haven't read it all of it?
No. And if somebody can sit here and tell me unilaterally that it is going to be bad, to me, they have no more credence than someone who is going to unilaterally tell me it's going to be good, because there's so many things that let's move forward.
Well, I know we went into the big, beautiful bill. I wanted to ask you a question because my daughter's really young. And so, she'll be 2 in August, but your daughter is much older, about to enter college. And a lot of the comments were around because he has daughters, Jason does, and raising a daughter in this country, in this climate. Like, did you have any like visceral reaction when you read some of those about, people mentioning his daughter?
Because no, it's stupid. It's like, he didn't say anything. He didn't say women should be like, no, he was talking about, look at this beautiful country we have. Like, that's a good dad. But I think that's where everyone wants to, if you remember back in whether it's high school or college statistics, one of the things they tell you is that you can twist numbers to look any way you want.
Yeah.
Right. You can make statistics look any way you want with a small enough sample size, large enough sample size, just the slant. You can create any picture you want. Right. I think that's what's going on. People are continuing to take any instance and create something that's not there. We've seen that happen. Last week we talked a little bit about Donald Trump and this idea. You have Bill Maher come out, who's gone to lunch with him. It's like, dude, yeah, he's maybe not my cup of tea, but he was a fun dude to have dinner with.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
all right, he was actually really kind. He was like very curious. Then you have RFK, who came out on Tucker Carlson's show and said, yeah, I was blown away, surprised. I thought he was going to be this egotistical, narcissistic, yada, yada, yada. And he goes, that's farther from the truth. The guy is so gracious, so giving, so like curious. And so it's like, I don't agree with the stuff the guy says and the way he points fingers in people's chests and whatever else. Is like, okay, fine, but to make up stories that aren't necessarily the case, that isn't right either.
Or this tone, for me, it's just like, where are all these comments that are coming in that we just read off earlier in the show? The mental state of these people must be so off, or like, I'm just trying to think about what are they experiencing.
It's social engineering. Let's look back, and I'm not going to say any one of these people listen to her, but just you have Whoopi Goldberg, who sits on The View.
Oh my God.
And she goes on in one of her presentations and is like, we have it worse in the US as black people than they do in Iran. Now, I'm not black. I have no idea. I don't know. But the comments that came out of it is like, Whoopi, you don't even know what you're talking about.
And if you watch, the comments are from black men and black women going, what the hell are you talking about?
So it's that type of social engineering that people will lash and see Whoopi said it. And it's whether Whoopi said it or not, or, well, yeah, like it had to be that way. And, you know, what's interesting is we've talked about this before is Madami, the Democratic candidate for mayor in New York. Reports come out that when he was trying to get into Columbia, he checked off that he was black on his application. How they figured that out, how they came out, I don't know. Those are reports. But one of the things that is interesting is, yes, we have seen this now. I can attest to it. My brother, this was almost 20 years ago, when he was trying to fill out scholarships and apply for college, we did not know our national heritage, our genetic heritage. And there was a thought that, we are Native American. Like, if you were Native American enough to get a scholarship.
Right.
Yeah, that's white privilege. That's white privilege, that we're looking at exemptions in order to get something because it's not available for us. So that's the privilege. So just take a moment and like, whoa, okay. You can't continue to beat the drum when the drum no longer makes a sound. It's over. Move on. And I'm not going to say there are people that are racist. There are people that are bigots. There are people that are sexist. They are alive and well in this world. Absolutely. But not everyone is. And to make the assumption that, Jason Kelce needs to continue to ferret it out. It's like, at what point do you become the drum that no longer makes a sound? Hey, instead of trying to tear everyone down, let's build everyone up, which he did. And yet he gets torn down, and it's like, you're the problem that wants to continue to tear down.
Point fingers. And
it reminds me of this story. There was a research article done, and I just read about it the other day, and it came up again, where there are these, this research, sociological research, and they took 4 monkeys. I don't know what kind of monkeys. They were monkeys. They put them in this room, not a round room. They put them in a room. That was a joke. They put them in a room, and in the middle of the room, there's a pole with some bananas on the top of it. And each time, so the monkeys are in the room, and each time one of the monkeys tries to climb up to the top of the pole to get a banana, they shoot it with a stream of water. Okay. This goes on until all 4 monkeys that are in the room get zapped with water. Okay. Then they take one of the monkeys out, put a new monkey in, and the monkeys are in the room. And whenever one of those monkeys goes up, the other monkeys pull them down. No one gets shot with water. Eventually, they remove all 4 of the monkeys that got shot with water, and there's only 4 monkeys that have never been shot with water. Guess what happens?
They get the bananas?
No one ever climbs the pole.
Huh.
It's been done again. And what's the story of it is when you beat people down, they'll eventually not understand why they're getting beat down.
Yeah.
That's what happens. And so it's kind of a little bit, I think what's going on is there are people in our society that have continued to beat down groups. We've seen that with certain leaders that, they're so, it's where, I've seen these TikTok videos. It's funny because it's just so absurd. You have this guy with a camera and a microphone, and he goes to like an Ivy League university and is interviewing all of these well-to-do white students. And he's like, well, should there be, a requirement for no idea for voting? So, it's hard for people to go get IDs.
Oh, I've seen this.
Oh, yeah, I have one. But, not everyone can go get them. Well, like who people? Well, like, like black people or like different races. Like, oh, okay.
Underprivileged. Yeah.
Yep, underprivileged. And it's like, they just can't. So then goes and interviews people in town that fit those descriptions, male, female, ethnic, whatever. And they're like, hey, do you have an ID? Yeah. Who doesn't? Yeah. Like, do you know where the DMV is? Yeah. It's three blocks down, two over. It's right there. And it like goes through this. And it's like, why do we have this narrative that we should not have voter ID because it's so oppressive? And yet of the quote unquote oppressed class, they're like,
it's so demeaning.
Don't demean us like that. Like, are you serious? Like, come on.
These underprivileged, like not smart. Like,
now, is that absolute? No, there are probably some people that don't. Yes, I get that, but it's like, come on.
With the technology,
it comes back to the story, the sociological study with the bananas and the monkey. It's like when you continue to beat down, instead of like, no, I'm going to lift you up. Like, hey, buddy, you don't need to believe those lies. Go make whatever you want. Happens all day long. Go ask Arnold Schwarzenegger. Came here, didn't know the language. Guess what he did? Became a multi-millionaire governor of a state, did whatever.
Yeah. And there's tons of those stories. Black, white, male, female. It's true. And I don't know if you watched the video I sent you, but it also just because we spoke about this before about individuals. It was a gay man talking about politics. Yeah. Did you watch that?
Well, I've seen another one of those before. And it's essentially like this one is, hey, we need to divorce from the wackos. Yeah. And this was the take. So you sent me a video and kind of go ahead, Alex, describe it to the audience that's watching, listening.
It was a gay man just basically to exactly your point. It's like, just because I am gay doesn't mean I have to support all of the other trans and non-binary ways of thought and thinking. And I should not be shunned and silenced because I don't agree with it. And I'm a gay man. And it was basically, him talking and going on a rant about it, which I was like, bravo to you. Like, just because you don't agree with a certain small percentage of people in the way they want to live their life, you should not be attacked because you think that way.
Yeah.
And then,
I mean, well, and I saw there was a woman who, I don't know, a couple months ago and she essentially said the same thing. It's like, I'm not down with that stuff. I think the narrative has been bad. And this is what I'm concerned about. He goes, the next thing we go to is bestiality or, adults attracted to minors. Like, that is coming next. And this is what she said. And it's like, honestly, you could see that you can see it coming. You can see how it gets there. You can see how the slide gets to that point. And I think it's interesting. We have people speaking against it and standing up. And I think it comes back to this point of like, politically, where are we? And, is it this great divide? And, we have this seemingly, whether it's from the news agency, we go through a national holiday where we're celebrating our independence 49 years ago. And it becomes a bastion for people to hate. I shared this with you. A friend shared this yesterday. She was on a Zoom and happened to have an American flag shirt on. And people are like, that isn't appropriate wear. It's an American company with all American employees. Like, oh, why is that not appropriate? Like, my wife talking about wearing an American flag hat and getting dirty looks in the airport. And it's just like on July 4th, no less. And it's like,
I don't know.
Like
Mike,
like how, and we talked about it last week, and now the American flag has become this symbol of perceived hate as opposed to patriotism.
Well, and again, that's not my wife, who's a registered Democratic voter, dressed our kids up in American flag bathing suit.
Yeah.
She wore an American flag bathing suit and went to the pool, and we had a great time.
Yeah.
We didn't think, no one thought twice about what.
Yeah.
It's like where this narrative is just like is engineered. It's just
totally. Well, and I think then we look at this as like, I think what we're seeing as evident is that the groups of, there's a separation of ideologies. There's the extreme left, I would say, that is kind of eating away at itself, where we've seen ratings drop on MSNBC and CNN, the traditional, more liberal voices. Their ratings are dropping like crazy. You have those leaders that are just sitting there scratching their heads like, we don't get it. Go back to the election where they were, it was funny. I saw a video compilation of election night from CNN, MSNBC, and they were just dumbfounded and like, how could people vote this way? It's going to be way too close. Like, no, not really. Like, say it for whatever it is, it was. And then now you have Elon Musk, who I have a take on Elon Musk, but Elon Musk coming out and, wanting to create his own party, the America Party.
Yeah.
Okay. That kind of came over the heels of the weekend. His really quite outspoken opposition to the one big beautiful bill. Okay, great. Be opposed to it. I don't fully understand everything in it. Whether you're opposed to it or proponent to it, I don't know, dude. It'll play out.
It just, I have a take on that. So when the bill got passed or nearly passed, already, Elon was just attacking the Republicans and the party. Not so much directly Trump this time, but obviously he chimed in again. But it was about spending, really. It was his key focus about just this useless waste of taxpayer money, which has driven him mad. I think he's gone to he got into the dragon's den and saw the dragons and the monsters in there. And I think he got a little too close and saw how ugly it is in DC and politics. And something probably, inside of him was like, this is all wrong. Like, we're wasting billions, if not trillions of dollars on ridiculous stuff. And the powers that be, like Epstein thing, powers that be, and this thing doesn't exist anymore. Pooh, magically disappeared, or did it exist? We don't know. And then he's like, he's going to start his own political party, which he can do it. But I think based the way the country's structured with electoral college and Democrat, Republican in the House and in the Senate, I almost think it's nearly impossible to do that or have any sort of power. I don't know. That's kind of I think it's interesting. Not saying don't try, but I just feel like, again, Elon got something, saw something that he didn't like, and he's gone and done an Elon thing, which is like, I just do whatever I want and say what I want.
I think this is my take on Elon is, he kind of said, hey, thanks for your time. Whether I'm going to say Trump, whatever, it's like, hey, thanks for your time for you to leave. And I really think he is hurt that I think he's hurt because he didn't get to do what he does with every other company. Authoritarianly control. That's what he does. That's what he's done at his other companies. He absolutely has complete authoritarian control. And he didn't get to do that. And he also wasn't praised and really, he was just kind of like, all right, you've done your time. Great. You expose all this stuff. We'll do the best we can with it. And instead of, Elon, please tell us exactly what to do, which kind of fits like what he does. as I've heard about, a friend of mine works for a company that does work with Tesla, and Elon has been a part of their meetings, and he'll come in and say, this is how you're going to do it. This is what you're going to do. We'll give that rant for 3 minutes and then be gone for the rest of the 57 minutes. And that's how he operates. And I believe that's what he didn't get to do in this case. And so now he's just, he's kind of, manic or scrambling because he wants to have value. And his value is doing it and being praised for what he's done. If you look back at, whether Tesla and SpaceX and Starlink, it's like, wow, how did this ever happen? It's amazing. Some of it is. It's great. But yet he got into an arena where there's too many people sitting at the table that in order to make the system work, everyone's got to eat a little bit.
Politics. I mean, people always say it's the dirtiest game in the world, and it's extreme. It's not like running and operating a business.
No,
clearly, because if a business was this much in debt, it wouldn't exist. And
I mean, here's the thing about that. Yes, I mean, let's tackle that one.
Yeah, let's go.
The U.S. is not insolvent.
Yeah.
All right. So say we have 32 trillion, 36 trillion, whatever in debt.
Yes.
Our assets add up to more of that.
Right. Correct.
So It's not insolvent. It's leverage. Now let's take another thing. 36 trillion in debt. I'm not saying it. I'm not justifying it. But when you look at the GDP and or the inflationary numbers, I'm not saying, we should be in more debt. Don't get me wrong, but it's just like, guys,
be fiscally responsible.
Yeah, the value of everything that we own with the dollar and everything else is, 2/3 of what it was 5-6 years ago. All right. Well, how does that fix? Yes, we got to fix some of it. But this is where I agree, whether it's part of the big, beautiful bill or not. It's like, there's two thoughts of mine. We either absolutely cut everything and balance our budget that way. Sometimes that's not possible. And other options are, all right, cut where we can and then pour money into places where you're going to have a bigger return. And that's where I look back at what happened during 2016 to 2020, which was a Trump financial facet. Hey, invest money into places where they can make more money because that will bring us back more money. I have to sit here and again, do I understand and agree with all? No, I don't. But I look at what's happened the first 120 days. And until I'm proven wrong, I'm going to have to assume it's going to be much the same based upon the previous 4 years. What was the driver? Drive more domestic business, try to drive more Main Street income, balance out with the Wall Street so everyone's kind of happy, but yet have more money come to, local parts of the country. And that is going to be fiscally better for everyone. Is the debt going to go up? I mean, okay. I mean,
maybe.
I don't know, but do you have better, you could go from zero debt to $100 million in debt, but you all of a sudden now have a income stream and, $300 million in assets. That $100 million debt is no big deal. Oh, our debt went higher. Yeah. Well, okay. Yeah. But
listen, I think I thought it was really cool, that the world's richest man, or one of them, and super smart guy was joining the Republican Party to help and enhance it. And then this is like when I was in Italy a couple weeks ago. I wasn't paying attention to anything. It's like Trump and Elon fight, and then I get back, they're back together having lunch, and then it's like, no, we're not. It's like this is like two grown-ups, in this heated debate or arguments on publicly. And I just, it's a shame. I wish that relationship had worked out, because I do think Elon's a very smart, bright guy. But to your point, there's a lot of ego. There's a lot of used to my way or the highway. What I want.
Let's revisit this. Let's go back and revisit this. When it first started, it was Vivek and Elon. Vivek Ramaswamy, remember?
Yeah.
And then Vivek, before they even got started, Vivek's like, dude, I'm out. And this is what I think. One, Vivek has, essentially thrown himself into the gubernatorial race in Ohio.
Right.
And that was one of his, I think what he understood, it was a no win. This is what I gather is I think he's just as bright. I think he's just as smart. I think he could have, really worked alongside Elon to expose a lot of this stuff, ferret it out, like really do well. But I think what it came down to is Elon had to win at all costs. And Vivek's like, life doesn't work like that, man. And I think we're seeing the back end of that is, the real question is, does this foray tarnish Elon's entire reputation? And for many, it has. For others, they're kind of indifferent. I don't know where. I mean, one of the latest things that I picked up this morning is, do we see Tesla force him out the board? And, it really kind of is almost is it a Steve Jobs again? Totally different circumstance, but a little bit the same. And it's just like, one, in this case, it's like, you're causing us more harm than good. Like, dude, what's your main focus? I think he's really upset, as well as he's voiced, that the big, beautiful bill cut some of the renewable energy, such as electric, all those things. Yeah. The commentary there is, and I think most states have figured out, is like, this isn't going as well as we thought it was. And we kept pouring money into it, and it's really not getting us anywhere forward. So it's kind of a bad use of money. And, we have all these electric vehicles out there. And do we want to continue to drive up more where we have no way to get rid of them? Like, there's a lot of different circumstances. It's like, you can't recycle the batteries. So you would hope
the way
that
they're
would be
created
the case.
Is also not beneficial to the environment as well.
Well, that was the other one that I thought was funny, was how part of it was taking funding away from wind energy. And I'm like, cue the line from The Landman. The show The Landman, where Billy Bob Thornton, his character, is discussing all of the merits of wind energy. And if you know anyone that operates in that, like, I have a friend who he works for a power generation plant, and they have wind, and they're like, it's miserable.
It's worse.
It's not consistent. There's no way to store it. It's not even that efficient. It's just, we got to deal with it. We have to have a certain amount of it, but it's just a pain in the butt. And then the other day, one of them caught on fire, and like all of the, the lubricants and everything else in it, that was all just burning up in the atmosphere. And it looked like a nasty colored fire. And it's like, yeah, those things happen. And you're complaining about my cows.
Methane gas.
From the grass that they eat, that regrows, that puts more carbon, takes carbon dioxide out of.
It's silly.
Anyways, on that note, Alex, happy Monday. Here we are, the back half of 2025. Can you believe that? We're already in the second half of 2025.
I'm optimistic. I think, I think we're going to have a good rest of the year, good second half, very positive results. We'll see some good things happen in the economy, and maybe everyone's cooler heads will prevail.
Yeah, I mean, here's I'm reading again. I've shared this many times from Meditations, Marcus Aurelius, and the perspective of what was going on some 2,000 years ago, and it's just like, just roll with it. Just roll with it.
What else?
There's things to do. There's things to fight for, but other than that, just roll with it. And it is so much. I mean, we talk about Stoicism, and you just like, just roll with it.
Try to just enjoy your life. Well,
there's that, and it's what's your legacy, and it's not going to happen in a moment, and just like roll with it. So on that note, Thanks for joining us. Thanks for being here. Until next time, choose to lead with impact.